Hey everybody, it's Christine. Today we are playing with the ScrapRoom's kit for January. I am going to be using this awesome winter themed collection from Simple Stories, and I'm going to be using some fun ice skating pictures from last winter. So I'm starting things off by cutting just some thin strips because I am going to create a border around the outside of my layout. So as you can see, I've got those all ready to roll, and I am going to just take those all the way around, and then I'm going to miter the edges. Nothing real complicated here. I'm just going to trim up the angle so that they don't overlap. Instead, they meet there in the middle. Woodworking technique brought to scrapbooking, and I'm sure most of you have probably used it before. If you haven't, you can see how I'm doing it throughout. Basically, I'm just not securing my edges real tight until I get that down. Now, while I'm doing this, I want to talk a little bit about the awesome kits from the ScrapRoom. First of all, they are a month-to-month subscription, so if you don't love it, you're not locked in for 6 months or anything like that. Second of all, you get lots of options. You have the Flavors of the Month kit, you have the Double Shot kit, you have an embellishment kit, pattern paper kits. There's all kinds of add-ons that you can do. I am working with the Flavors of the Month kit and the embellishment kit. So what that does is it gives me the basics for 4 pages with 4 different collections, and then the embellishments is a little bit extra add-on, and then you can basically get a good feel for what the collection is like. You can create 1 or 2 pages with it, and then you can decide, you know, do I want more of this collection? Did I do enough with it? That kind of thing. And so it's just a great way to play with 4 different collections every month, and I love that aspect of it. The variety is just so much fun. And yeah, sometimes you do have to add a little bit more on to finish off your page, but it's generally not a lot. It might be a little bit of a title piece or things like that, but for the most part, it's all in there for you. And it's also a nice way to just try out companies that you haven't tried before. So with that said, let's carry on back to the layout. You can see I've added a circle there in the middle, and I'm actually going to add multiple photos today. These are of me and my boys ice skating last year. So I want to add in a bunch of different patterned papers here, but I don't want to go all totally pattern crazy and have too much going on. So what I'm doing right now is I am just playing with my layers. I've cut out a bunch of little pieces, and I know I want to tuck those in behind my main picture, but I need to determine what order I want them in. Do I want it behind the little pictures too? Do I want my picture straight, slanted, all those things? And I also want to make sure that I get my picture on there, my main picture, on there in the right spot. So what I'm looking for on that is not necessarily that I want it straight, because I'm kind of going off kilter on this, but I do want it to be centered. I don't want it to be too high on the layout or too low. And so that's what I'm double checking there. And then I just lightly put it on there with adhesive. And what I mean by that is I don't push it down real hard to start with. And then I'm going to just tuck my layers behind it and start to build outward from that picture. Now, one of the things I was careful of with these layers is you can see I've got a patterned one, and then I've got this white one with the snowflakes that I want to pop out a little bit. And then I'm going to do another patterned one. So I made sure to put them in order that made sense instead of like the white pattern or whatever. I wanted to showcase the different patterns and keep them in a very specific order. And that's something you kind of have to train your eye to do that. What looks good in what order. And sometimes you put it on and you end up pulling it back up and adjusting, or you might add in a darker color or things like that. And so that is just something I'm always looking at when I'm including multiple patterns, is what order do I want them to be in. The other thing that worked well with this is you can see I've got the white offset from my white base. So it doesn't have like the white right away up against it. It's got the patterns in between it. So that's just another little thing that I look at as I'm creating. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some of these layers up. So I'm going to use some Scrapbook adhesives by 3L foam squares, and I am going to just pop up the top of it. I've already got the bottom secured on there, just to add some extra dimension and interest, and also make those patterns pop just a little bit more on the layout. Now I'm ready to start bringing in my little pictures, and so I'm gonna just start playing with how those are gonna land on there. Now, since I've got my main picture kind of tilted, I want to bring in some more tilting and that kind of stuff, and so I'm just gonna mess around and see how I want them to fit. You will notice that one thing I did was keep them all pretty much within the circle. I didn't want to have one side laying outside of the circle a whole bunch and the other side not. So I tried to tilt and angle them so that they would do just that. Now, the fun part, my favorite part, embellishing. So I've got this 12 by 12 embellishment sheet of stickers that is fabulous and lots of options there. I've also got some ephemera to work with, and so I'm going to just start bringing those in to my layout. You can see I've added already a title, and then I cut out this igloo from some of the patterned paper, and I want to use that as a big embellishment there because it's just too cute to pass up, and it brings in another real good pop of white there to offset that white up top. I am using my T-square quite a bit to make sure things are lined up. I wanted to play with some of the cute characters in this collection as well, so you can see me bringing the snowmen and penguins in there, and I'm just going to determine which ones I actually want to use, which ones work well, size-wise and such. I wish there would have been 3 of each of them, because in my brain I need 3, but I think it ends up working okay because the penguins are pretty white anyway, and so I can work those all in there as well and not have it be totally off. I didn't want, like, you know, a totally different color scheme to get brought in or anything by the embellishments. I'm also going to just bring in some additional stickers, create some little scenes here. So I've got that little mountain scene and the tree and lots of just fun things. I've already got that scene going with the igloo down below. I also am going to bring in some circles, and these come from all different parts in the collection. Ephemera, stickers, patterned paper, and I'm just going to bring those in as an accent to play up the circle feature that I've already got going on, and I'm going to bring them in some different colors to make the little scenes that I've created pop a little bit more. Well, you can see that this layout started with pretty simple base with the circle and some simple layers and simple pictures. I've really taken it a long ways to look very detailed with the different embellishments available, and so that is a win in my book, taking something from simple to the next level. And I've got a really great story told here of a fun day of ice skating with my kids. My final edition is going to be adding some journaling. A lot of times I do this on the back because I want to keep it private, and since a lot of my scrapbook layouts are out there in public, I don't always want to share the details with the whole world. But in this case, I felt like the journaling would look really nice along the outside of my circle. So I am going to go ahead and add that on and just write all the way around the circle with a black pen. So there you have it. A kind of simple but detailed layout, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Using this month's kit from the ScrapRoom. Be sure to check out the kits. She does sell out of them, so if you are enjoying the different videos with the kit pages, you will want to head on over to the ScrapRoom and grab yours. And we will see you again next time. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great week.